In a remote valley in central Norway, mysterious lights have been observed floating through the air both day and night for decades. These lights, known as the Hessdalen Lights, can appear as bright white, yellow, or red, and have been reported to move at various speeds, sometimes hovering or swaying slowly, and other times moving at tremendous velocities. Sightings of unusual lights in the region date back to at least the 1930s, with a significant increase in activity during the early 1980s that attracted many tourists to the area. In recent years, sightings have decreased but still occur regularly. Several research projects and scientific teams have attempted to investigate the Hessdalen Lights phenomenon, employing various methods to record and analyze the mysterious lights. Despite these efforts, no conclusive explanation has been reached, and the lights remain an enigma. Some sightings have been positively identified as misperceptions of natural or man-made objects like celestial bodies, aircraft, car headlights, and mirages. However, many occurrences remain unexplained. One theory suggests that the lights may be caused by the combustion of airborne dust from local mining operations, with the presence of specific elements like scandium in the Hessdalen Valley contributing to the phenomenon. Another hypothesis proposes that the lights are formed by clusters of electrically charged particles known as Coulomb crystals, which are produced by the ionization of air and dust by radiation during the decay of radioactive elements like radon in the atmosphere. This theory potentially explains various properties of the lights, including their oscillation, geometric structure, and light spectrum. The piezoelectric effect, in which certain crystals produce an electrical charge when subjected to mechanical stress, has also been suggested as a possible cause. The Hessdalen Valley contains quartz-rich rocks that could generate intense charges through this effect. While the true nature of the Hessdalen Lights remains a mystery, ongoing research and scientific inquiry continue to explore this captivating phenomenon. Hesychasm is a contemplative tradition within Eastern Christianity that emphasizes the practice of silent inner prayer to achieve a state of stillness and union with God. The word itself comes from the Greek term meaning stillness, rest, or quiet. While Hesychasm has roots in early Christian monasticism, it took its definitive form in the 14th century, particularly on Mount Athos in Greece. Practitioners, known as hesychists, seek to engage in unceasing prayer, most commonly the Jesus prayer, which involves the repetition of a short phrase like, "Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner." Over time, hesychists developed specific techniques to assist in their prayer, such as controlled breathing and focusing the mind within the heart. These psychosomatic practices were believed to help withdraw the senses, overcome distracting thoughts, and cultivate inner stillness. The ultimate goal of hesychasm is theosis, or deification, a transformative union with God. This is seen as a gradual process involving purification from passions, illumination of the mind, and finally, mystical union. Hesychists who reach this state often report experiencing the divine as an uncreated light, associated with the light seen by Christ's disciples at his transfiguration. In the 14th century, hesychasm sparked a controversy within the Eastern Orthodox Church, with some theologians arguing against its practices and doctrines. Ultimately, the teachings of hesychasm's defenders, particularly Gregory Palamas, were upheld as orthodox and became influential in Eastern Christian theology. While hesychasm is deeply rooted in Eastern Orthodox spirituality, its emphasis on silent, contemplative prayer and mystical experience shares similarities with practices in other Christian traditions as well as in non-Christian religions. Its practitioners see it as a powerful path to inner peace, spiritual transformation, and intimate communion with the divine. Imagine a hypothetical hotel with an infinite number of rooms, all of which are occupied. Surprisingly, this fully booked hotel can still accommodate new guests, even an infinite number of them, without any of the current guests having to leave. To make room for one new guest, the hotel simply shifts each current guest to the next room. The guest in room 1 moves to room 2, the guest in room 2 moves to room 3, and so on. Since the hotel has infinitely many rooms, this process can continue forever, opening up room 1 for the new guest. The same principle applies to any finite number of new guests. If 10 guests arrive, each current guest moves 10 rooms over, leaving the first 10 rooms open. Even more remarkably, the hotel can accommodate an infinite number of new guests by moving each current guest to a room number that is double their current one, thereby opening up all the odd-numbered rooms for the newcomers. Things get even stranger when an infinite number of buses, each carrying an infinite number of guests, arrive at the hotel. By assigning guests to rooms based on their seat and bus numbers using prime numbers, powers of prime numbers, or other methods, the hotel can find a unique room for every passenger on every bus. This mind-bending thought experiment, known as Hilbert's paradox, illustrates the bizarre nature of infinity. While it seems to defy common sense, the paradox follows logically from the properties of infinite sets. It highlights the fact that in an infinite system, a part can be the same size as the whole, a concept that runs counter to our everyday experience with finite collections of objects. Though abstract, Hilbert's paradox provides a glimpse into the strange and fascinating world of infinite sets and the counterintuitive results that arise when dealing with the concept of infinity in mathematics and logic. In the small Eastern European country of Lithuania, there's a peculiar and fascinating site known as the Hill of Crosses. This hilltop is covered in tens of thousands of crosses and religious symbols left by pilgrims over many generations. The exact origins of this tradition are a bit unclear, but it seems to have started after unsuccessful uprisings against Russian rule in the 1800s. Families who couldn't locate the bodies of their lost loved ones began leaving crosses on the hill in their memory. Over time, people began leaving crosses and effigies for all sorts of reasons: to pray for peace, health, and success, to commemorate historical events, or to symbolize the enduring spirit of the Lithuanian people in the face of hardship. During the Soviet era, the Hill of Crosses became a symbol of resistance against religious persecution. The Soviets tried to stamp out this practice, bulldozing the site multiple times, but Lithuanians kept returning, risking punishment to secretly erect new crosses. After Lithuania regained independence, cross-making became a popular folk art tradition. Thousands of new crosses and carvings now fill the hill, left by visitors from all over. The Hill of Crosses has become an important pilgrimage site and a powerful testament to the faith and perseverance of the Lithuanian people through a turbulent history. In Norse mythology, Odin, the king of the gods, possesses a magnificent throne called Hlidskjalf. This high seat grants Odin the power of Sider, which allows him to see into all realms and listen to everything that transpires within them. By sitting upon Hlidskjalf, Odin achieves a state of omniscience, enabling him to gain knowledge of all things. The throne's significance is highlighted in various mythological tales. In one story, Odin and his wife Frigg observe their foster sons from Hlidskjalf and make a wager regarding one son's hospitality. In another, the god Freyr secretly sits upon the throne and catches a glimpse of the beautiful giantess Gerdur in Jotunheimer, instantly falling in love with her. Hlidskjalf is said to be located within Valaskjalf, Odin's majestic hall in Asgard. The hall is thatched with shimmering silver, and whenever Odin sits upon the high seat, he can survey all the lands and observe the actions of every individual. Over time, Hlidskjalf has become a powerful symbol representing Odin's strength, wisdom, and all-seeing power. Many thrones throughout history have been designed in imitation of this legendary seat, seeking to emulate its grandeur and the authority it represents. In the heart of Transylvania, on the outskirts of Cluj-Napoca, lies the Hoia Baciu forest, a mysterious place haunted by strange paranormal phenomena. Spanning across 250 hectares, this forest has earned the title of the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania due to the numerous inexplicable events that have occurred within its boundaries. Tales of the forest's haunting nature began to circulate in the 1960s when a biologist captured a photograph of a flying object in the sky above the trees. Since then, a series of bizarre disappearances have been reported, including that of a shepherd and his entire flock of 200 sheep, never to be seen again. Even more puzzling is the case of a 5-year-old girl who vanished, only to reappear 5 years later, wearing the same clothes and having not aged a single day. Those who have ventured into the Hoia Baciu forest have often emerged with unexplained burns, severe rashes, headaches, and high fevers. Studies have revealed higher than usual levels of radioactivity in the area, attributed to the presence of natural uranium in the subsoil. The trees themselves add to the enigma, with their twisted trunks and unusual shapes, despite being over 2 centuries old. At the heart of the forest lies a perfect circle, devoid of any vegetation. Despite thorough testing, no anomalies have been found in the soil that would prevent plant growth. This area seems to be the epicenter of the paranormal activity, with numerous photographic evidence capturing mysterious lights and spheres appearing within the forest. As science struggles to explain the source of these strange phenomena, speculation abounds as to whether the Hoia Baciu forest serves as a portal to another world or a parallel universe. The forest remains one of the most well-documented paranormal sites in the world, drawing the attention of researchers and curious minds alike, all hoping to unravel the secrets hidden within its haunted depths. Our perception of time is a fascinating construct of the mind, one that can warp and bend in peculiar ways. When we're gripped by fear, time seems to slow down, a phenomenon that's been observed in people with arachnophobia when they look at spiders and in novice skydivers during their first jump. On the flip side, as we age, time appears to speed up, a concept that's been explained by various theories, though none fully account for the subjective nature of our temporal experience. Interestingly, our memory plays a crucial role in shaping our perception of time. We tend to vividly remember experiences from our late teens and early 20s, a phenomenon known as the reminiscence bump. This is likely because it's a period of many firsts and novel experiences which our brain latches onto to help construct our identity. In fact, people who undergo major identity transformations later in life often experience a second reminiscence bump. Another intriguing temporal illusion is the holiday paradox, where a vacation seems to fly by in the moment, but feels lengthy in retrospect. This occurs because our mind perceives time in 2 ways, prospectively and retrospectively. During our daily lives, these 2 perspectives align, but the novelty of a holiday throws them out of balance, leading to a distorted sense of time. While we may never have total control over time, understanding its quirks and the role our mind plays in shaping it can help us better navigate its mysteries. By learning to slow down or speed up our perception of time and by focusing on the present moment, we can harness this incredible dimension to our advantage and make the most of the precious moments we have. The hollow moon hypothesis proposes that the moon is either completely hollow or contains a substantial interior space, potentially the product of an alien civilization. This concept, also known as the spaceship moon hypothesis, has been explored in science fiction work since the early 1900s and has gained traction among some conspiracy theorists in recent decades. Proponents of the hypothesis point to the moon's lower density compared to Earth as evidence of its hollow nature. They also cite the ringing like a bell phenomenon observed during shallow moonquakes and the seemingly perfect fit of the moon's shadow during solar eclipses as indicators of its artificial origin. However, multiple lines of scientific evidence, including seismic observations and moment of inertia measurements, strongly suggest that the moon has a solid internal structure consisting of a thin crust, an extensive mantle, and a small, dense core. The giant impact hypothesis, which proposes that the moon formed from debris left by a collision between Earth and a Mars-sized body, is currently the most widely accepted scientific explanation for the moon's origin. Despite the lack of scientific support, the hollow moon concept continues to capture the imagination of many and has been featured in various works of fiction and conspiracy literature. Some authors have even suggested that the moon may be a spaceship created by time-traveling humans or extraterrestrial beings to safeguard human evolution or manipulate human thought. According to some alternative spiritual beliefs, those in spiritual leadership positions who are committed to planetary stewardship and consciousness liberation may be targeted with a special brand of psycho-spiritual warfare. This is said to involve the use of cloned light holograms and mock effigies in rituals designed to enforce crucifixion and satanic ritual abuse of certain divine consciousness archetypes. Proponents claim that cloned images of prominent figures in the Ascension and Disclosure communities are replicated into holographic inserts that run artificial realities depicting them engaged in depraved acts. The purpose is allegedly to defame their character and assign satanic corruption to their spiritual mission and life's work. It's believed that many of the disturbing images or scenes people may perceive on the astral plane are not necessarily true, but are artificial realities generated by sophisticated alien technology to attack and divide awakening groups. The production of AI-spawned holographic inserts embedded with satanic ritual abuse themes is thought to be a technological mind control tactic that has been used against humans for millennia. Holding compassion for others and not rushing to judgment is considered an important defense, as is taking control of one's own thoughts and beliefs. Embodying divine principles is said to make artificial holographic inserts immediately perceptible in one's energy field, allowing for quick removal. The concept of false flag manipulation, involving deceptive covert operations, is also discussed in relation to psycho-spiritual warfare. Dark entity harassment may be combined with holographic inserts to make targeted individuals believe they were attacked by someone else, destroying trust and cohesion in spiritual communities. The holonomic brain theory is a fascinating approach to understanding human consciousness and cognition through the lens of quantum effects in the brain. This theory proposes that memories are encoded in the brain in a manner similar to how information is stored in a hologram. In a hologram, each part contains the whole of the stored information, and the same is thought to be true for memory in the brain. Memories are believed to be distributed across the dendritic network of brain cells, rather than being stored in specific clusters of neurons. This allows the brain to maintain function and memory even when parts of it are damaged. The holonomic brain theory suggests that the brain's dendritic arbor, the complex network of branching neural fibers, plays a crucial role in creating and storing memories. Electric oscillations within this network are thought to create wave interference patterns that encode memory in a natural, non-local way. The similarities between the brain's memory storage and the way information is stored in a hologram are striking. Both involve the use of Fourier transforms, a mathematical tool that allows for the analysis and manipulation of complex wave patterns. This shared property may explain the brain's ability to quickly associate different pieces of stored information and recognize objects from various angles and sizes. While the holonomic brain theory is not widely accepted in mainstream neuroscience, it offers a compelling alternative perspective on the nature of human consciousness and memory. Ongoing research continues to explore the potential role of quantum effects and holographic principles in brain function, providing new insights into the enigmatic workings of the mind. Holotropic breathwork is an unconventional New Age practice that involves controlling and quickening breathing patterns to influence mental, emotional, and physical states. Developed by psychiatrists in the 1970s as an alternative to psychedelic drugs, it aims to achieve altered states of consciousness for self-exploration and healing. In this practice, participants breathe rapidly and evenly to induce a non-ordinary state of consciousness, believed to offer a deeper understanding of oneself. Each person's experience is unique and self-directed, with the belief that the inner radar determines the most important experience at a given moment. Holotropic breathwork sessions typically take place in a group setting, with participants paired off as breathers and sitters. The breather engages in the breathwork while the sitter ensures their safety and support. Guided by a facilitator, the breather lies on a mat and breathes faster and deeper to the rhythm of repetitive music, allowing the breath to take them into a dreamlike state. After the session, participants create mandalas and discuss their experiences, which may include the reemergence of past traumas, feelings of joy, or the development of spiritual awareness. The practice is open-ended, allowing individuals to explore whatever issues surface during the altered state. While some believe holotropic breathwork can offer benefits such as relaxation, stress relief, personal growth, and self-awareness, research supporting its therapeutic benefits for psychiatric conditions is lacking. There are also potential risks, including medical complications from hyperventilation and the amplification of symptoms in vulnerable individuals. The Holy Grail, a treasure that serves as an important motif in Arthurian literature, is described as a cup, dish, or stone with miraculous healing powers, often providing eternal youth or sustenance in infinite abundance. This elusive object has captured the imagination for centuries, with various traditions associating it with the cup used at the Last Supper or the vessel used to collect Christ's blood at the crucifixion. The Grail first appears in an unfinished romance by a French poet, where it is not explicitly holy, but is described as a wide, somewhat deep dish or bowl. It later takes on more significant holy implications in the works of another French poet, who portrays it as the vessel of the Last Supper. A German poet then describes it as a stone, adding further layers to the Grail's mythos. Scholars have long speculated on the origins of the Grail legend, suggesting connections to Celtic mythology and Christian legends surrounding the Eucharist. Some propose that the legend emerged from unique iconic images of the Virgin Mary, holding a bowl that radiates tongues of fire, predating literary accounts. In the wake of the Arthurian romances, several artifacts have been identified as the Holy Grail in medieval relic veneration, including items in Genoa and Valencia. Places such as Glastonbury in England, Montségur in France, and Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland have also become associated with the Grail. Modern interpretations of the Grail have given rise to various conspiracy theories, connecting it to the Knights Templar, Cathars, and even Nazi Germany. The Grail has been featured prominently in literature, art, and film, capturing the imagination of audiences worldwide with its promise of healing, abundance, and spiritual enlightenment. The Greek poet Homer, often credited with single-handedly creating the Odyssey and the Iliad, two of the greatest stories in human history, may have never actually existed. Instead, Homer was more likely an idea, a cultural manifestation, or a figment of our collective imagination. The notion of Homer as a blind, illiterate genius poet has been challenged by scholars who point out the lack of reliable historical information about him. The earliest known attribution of both epic poems to Homer dates back to centuries after the works were believed to have been created, raising doubts about his existence. One intriguing theory suggests that the Homeric works actually originated much earlier than previously thought, around 2000 BC, rather than the commonly accepted 8th century BC. This theory is supported by the presence of elements from the Homeric works that are shared across various lands, indicating a common root predating the Greek civilization. Furthermore, the depiction of ancient Greece in the Iliad, with its portrayal of the Greeks as wild barbarians driven by revenge and self-assertion, aligns more closely with the conditions of an earlier period, centuries before the 8th century BC. These findings challenge the traditional view of Homer as a singular historical figure, and instead suggest that the epic poems emerged from a confluence of tales and traditions circulating in the ancient world. During medieval and early modern times, it was believed that these artificial human-like beings could be created through the practice of alchemy. The homunculus first appears by name in writings attributed to a famous alchemist, who outlined a method for creating them involving the putrefaction of human sperm in a sealed container placed in warm horse dung for 40 days. According to the alchemist's instructions, the resulting being would resemble a transparent human and could be further nourished with human blood to grow into a living child. The fully grown homunculus was thought to possess innate knowledge and remarkable abilities. Similar ideas can be found in earlier alchemical traditions, such as the Arabic concept of takwin, which involved creating life through artificial means. The homunculus also shares similarities with folkloric notions like the mandrake root and the golem. In the 17th and 18th centuries, the homunculus concept intersected with preformationism, the belief that animals developed from miniature versions of themselves contained within sperm. This led to the notion of animalcules, tiny preformed individuals that grew into children when placed inside a woman's womb. Today, the term homunculus is used in neuroscience to describe a distorted representation of the human body, based on the relative space various body parts occupy in the brain's sensory and motor cortices. This cortical homunculus is often depicted as a small figure with enlarged features corresponding to the most sensitive or dexterous parts of the body. Throughout literature, film, television, and other media, the homunculus remains a persistent trope, embodying the enduring fascination with the idea of artificially created life. Operators, also known as hook operators, are humanoid entities that are indistinguishable from ordinary people in appearance, but possess psychic abilities that allow them to control the lives of non-psychic humans. These entities are said to have their own separate culture and society, focused on extracting pain and suffering from the individuals they manipulate, whom they refer to as things. The concept of operators was first introduced in a book published in the 1950s, which chronicled the author's experiences during a schizophrenic breakdown. In the book, the author describes a complex bureaucratic society of operators centered around causing human suffering. The author's schizophrenic episode is portrayed as an accidental shift onto the operator's psychic wavelength, allowing her to communicate with them telepathically. Many reviewers have interpreted the operators as symbolic manifestations of the oppressive and manipulative experiences the author faced as a woman in a chauvinistic work environment during the 1950s. The idea of a separate human species covertly dominating the majority of humanity has since entered paranormal and conspiratorial discourse, drawing comparisons to other alleged entities like men in black and reptilians. Several explanations have been proposed for the existence of operators, including the possibility of the book being a hoax or a fictionalized account, a hallucinatory expression of real-life hierarchies and manipulative office culture, or even a glimpse into the world of an actual parallel human species with psychic abilities. Regardless of the interpretation, the concept of operators remains a fascinating and unsettling exploration of hidden power structures and the human psyche. The legendary curse of the Hope Diamond follows the owner of this stunning blue gem, said to have been plucked from the forehead of a Hindu goddess statue centuries ago. The curse foretells bad luck and death not only for the diamond's owner, but for all who touch it. As the story goes, a French jeweler who acquired the diamond during his travels met a gruesome end, torn apart by wild dogs. Over the years, the diamond passed through the hands of royalty, nobility, and wealthy collectors, many of whom met tragic fates, from executions to untimely deaths. One famous owner, a wealthy American socialite, believed the diamond brought her good luck. She wore it constantly, even during a medical operation. However, misfortune struck her family as well, with the loss of her young son in an accident and her daughter's suicide. Despite the tales of misfortune, the Hope Diamond's allure lies in its exceptional quality, large size, and rare blue color. It has a storied history, once owned by French kings, stolen during the French Revolution, and later resurfacing in London with a different cut, likely to conceal its origins. The diamond eventually made its way to the United States, changing hands several times before being acquired by a famed New York jeweler. He donated the gem to the Smithsonian Institution in the late 1950s, where it remains on display today as the centerpiece of the National Gem and Mineral Collection.